It's Energumene opening up a clear advantage in the closing stages. A breath of fresh air over fences is going to stay at the helm of the 2 mile Novices. Energumene by.
Boylesports has it all. Money back meetings every day. UK and Irish racing live streaming. Extra places and money back all losers offers. And a bet 10 get 40 welcome offer. Boylesports, this is betting.
And this is the Three Wise Men. Hello, welcome to Champ.ie with Boylesports and a look ahead to a weekend. The fourth chair that is normally occupied by Mr. Ronan Groom is empty this week. We did ask Jack Frost to come and replace him, but Jack said he was a little bit busy trying to decimate the weekend racing to actually come and talk about it. Because it is with a big if that I welcome to the programme Barry Doyle, the founder, Champ.ie, and one of the rising stars of the Irish training ranks, Mr. Thomas Coyle. And they're going to have to do the work of three men as we are groomless for the next couple of weeks, actually. It's a good time to go, isn't it, as the temperatures plunge. Luckily, I don't think the Euro's plunging, so we hope he has a good trip. Because I know where he's going. Anyway, let's talk about racing, shall we? That's what we're here to do. First of all, a big welcome. Secondly, we will talk about things clearly. There is a large spanner in my hand, which I'm going to put in the works, or Jack Frost threatened to put in the works for us, because there are inspections all over the place for the weekend. We need you, if you haven't already, please to subscribe. And whether you have subscribed or not, you have the chance. Usual terms and conditions apply, and that's important to enter the 5-cast at the end of the programme. And for that 5-cast, you could win a €20 free bet courtesy of Boylesports. It is Cheltenham in the UK, and it is Punchestown and Cork in Ireland that are the headline acts this weekend. But let's start by going through the 5 major races that we've picked out for you. What is complicating things particularly, you look at a race which we're not featuring, the first race at Cheltenham on Saturday, and we all thought, blimey, 11 runners. It hasn't had 11 runners for about 3 British Prime Ministers. And then you realise that 6 of them are also declared for the juvenile hurdle at Doncaster, and they won't be running in both places. That is the day's good bet. So let's start our look ahead by looking then at these Cheltenham races and see what the wise men actually think about it. And we start with the AIS December Gold Cup itself. And this is the 150 on Saturday. A field of 15 has been declared, although there is a couple of double declarations in this as well. Both Puerto Rico and Storm Control are also entered at Doncaster. Top weight here is Stolen River, and the likely favourite, well, I presume it'll be still there or thereabouts at the top of the market, Il Ridato for Paul Nicholls and Harry Cobden. And also there's likely to be money around for the Tizard horse Warlord. Okay, Barry, what do you make of it?
Yeah, what do I make of it? I'm going to take on
that's my question to you.
I'm going to take on those at the top of the market. In summary, you mentioned Il Ridato. He's currently the 11-2 favourite for the race with Boylesports. Travelled into the November Gold Cup, didn't he? Like the best horse in the race. And just didn't come home all that strong. He has second run back after a wind up. Stolen Silver. He was absolutely hammered off the board after the November Gold Cup. Sam Thomas, Sam Twiston Davis. And was it the third last? He made a bad mistake. And it was an impressive winner at Cheltenham. He is a course and distance winner back in April of last season. But for me, I'd be willing to take on the 2 of those. Fantastic lady. She's plenty of weight. Just a little stat on this race. Like 8 of the last 10 winners have carried less than 11 stone. Now, I found one at a big price. It does carry more than 11 stone. But just, I'm happy to take on those at the top of the market. The one I've come down on here is a big price. It's 20-1. And it's Jenny Candlish, if I pronounced that right, and the stable representative. She's carrying 11 stone 10. Sean Quinlan on board this Cheltenham. Really impressive. There's a horse called Frero Bamboo in here for Venetia Williams. He'll be on plenty of people's shortlists. Has had 2 runs over 2 miles on his last 2 starts. And he's stepping up in trip. But if you actually look at Cheltenham, he's had a prep run over hurdles. Looks nicely teed up for this, but he's actually £10 better off. He finished ahead. Cheltenham finished ahead of Frero Bamboo when they last met, and that was at Cheltenham over 2 miles. He's stepping up in trip. Cheltenham, he's reasonably lightly raced. He's only had 9 runs over fences and really consistent. 5 efforts last season. Was only out at the muddy on 1 occasion. I think there's more to come from him. I think he's a massive price. I think he's been underlooked, and off 146 up in trip over fences, just a second run of the season. I think he's a big price. So if you're fancying the Venetia horse, Fredo Bamboo, he has to come into the equation. And I would give the Venetia horse a chance as well.
I always feel sorry in a big race like this for a horse it's called Coconut Squeak. The reason is his form figures 3-3-2, 3-3-2-3. And that is play-status of the almost desperate level. It's not the mother-in-law's phone number, by the way. You really feel that you were desperate for that horse to win, just to get a huge monkey off his back. TC, where's your money here?
I actually came down on Coconut Splash. You're not giving it much reasoning there, but yeah, look, it was a good enough comeback the last time. He probably done everything a bit wrong. He ran a bit keen and got tired at the last. That was behind Into Overdrive, and we know Into Overdrive follow home the very impressive Le Homme Press last week in Newcastle. So look, that form is nice, and on the stat that Barry said, we've got 10-10 here, which is the right side of 11 stone. Look, Adam Wedge, good rider. I just thought,
won it last year, Tom. Same connections.
Yeah, and look, he did. You can see it in the rerun of the last run. He did physically get tired jumping the last. So you would imagine he'd come on for his reappearance. So I think, look, he's a good each way bet. There's a few nibbles for him as well. He's one I came down on. I'd agree with you, Barry. I'd take the 2 on at the top as well. Il Rodotto and Stolen Silver. You've got to realise as well with Stolen Silver, although he didn't have the slog up the hill the last time, but he did report back that the vet found him to be lame after the race as well. So that'd be a little concern as well going into this. Yeah. Couldn't have Warlord. I was very disappointed behind Barry's horse the last day, Grenadine, in Exeter in the Holden Gold Cup. He's getting stacked away.
Trip though, as well.
Yeah, but he didn't. For me, I don't know. I was expecting a bit more from him that day, Mike. Like he was getting bundles of weight off him. Look, Grenadine's a good horse. We've seen him finishing second in the Tingle Creek. Like he's no mug, but Warlord was well and truly putting his place and getting a stone and a half off him. The other horse I was just going to give a mention to is the Irish Raider, Soul Pretender. Norman Lee, who has a small string of horses that's growing. Norman's one of the nicest lads you meet in racing. Anytime I go racing, I'd always have a conversation with him. Down to earth kind of guy, and he's done wonders with this horse. Look, he's a proper 150 rated hurdler in Ireland. He's won them Tipperary hurdles. He started life off well. He beat Easky Lane in a beginner's chase, I know, around Ballinrobe, but Easky Lane's a good 140, 150 hurdler of Gordon Elliott's here, and he beat him by 12 lengths. £7 lower over fences, Tom. Yeah, that's what I was coming to. And it's very valuable that Michael O'Sullivan's going over to take another 5 off him as well. It's the step up and trip that's really doing it for me. Look, although he's been winning them, he looks to be flat out in them 2 mile races and just grinds it out. So hopefully going a gear slower, he might be more in his comfort zone a little bit. He's a good each way price. He's got the right man in his back, as we've seen Michael O'Sullivan giving Barry Connell's horse a great ride last week, and you can see he's absolute value for £5 taking off any horse. So he's another little interesting.
He's in there at 14-1. Actually, just to mention, so Coconut Splash 12-1, Soul Pretender 14-1, and 20-1 about Cheltenham. That's some combination tricast.
Absolutely. That's why we all have to do this job, because they never come off, and we have to come back and try again next week. All right, we better move on. Keep the thing going. Just a reminder, of course, as we record, there's going to be an inspection for this card at Cheltenham. We don't know at the moment, depending, first of all, as to whether Friday gets to go ahead or not.
Download the Boylesports app and receive generous offers for new and existing customers. Boylesports, this is betting.
Next, the International. In many years, this has been to try and work out what's the best British horse to try and get stuffed by the likes of Honeysuckle and the Mullins mob at the Champion Hurdle in March, but rather different complexion on things after what happened last weekend at Fairyhouse. And, of course, we've got Constitution Hill waiting in the wings as well. But this is a pretty good renewal. Nappers Hill, the winner at Wincanton for Harry Cobden and Paul Nicholls. First Street dotted up at Newbury a fortnight ago. I Like to Move It, who, of course, won the Greatwood at the last Cheltenham meeting. And then there's a certain Epatante, and that does nothing to do with the fact that my aunt wants a cordial. What do you think about this one, Barry? A really good race. My worry is it's going to be tactical, but I would think I Like to Move It. It'll go from the front, won't he?
Yeah, I'm wearing the I Like to Move It silks here on the show. I think he'd be hard to beat. I was very impressed with him. I thought it was a decent renewal this season. I think the first and second in the Greatwood are two very nice horses. Nigel has won this. Nigel Twiston-Davies 4 times in the last decade. Guard Your Dreams last season. I think this is a much better horse than Guard Your Dreams. Epatante, she's out pretty quickly, isn't she, Tom? 14 days after the run in the Fighting Fifth. I Like to Move It. One thing I would say about the Greatwood Hurdle is I'd say when they took out the final 2 flights they took out, that probably helped him, brought his stamina more into it. I do like him though. I think he is improving. He's going to handle the ground perfect. He's 3 wins from 4 runs around Cheltenham. I think it could be the start of a real nice day for the Twiston-Davies team. They always target this meeting, don't they?
This lad's the new one a few years ago. So let's get TC in on this. But Mr. Nicholls was reaching for the superlatives about Nappers Hill. I keep wanting to call it Knackers Yard, but it's Nappers Hill.
Yeah, look, it's a tricky little contest for, like, there's only, well, I think you could probably put a line through Dennis's horse, to be fair. Nappers Hill has done nothing wrong and has put it into a grade 2 the last day. I do like what Barry was saying about the Twiston-Davies horse, but look, Epatante has grade 1 form. It's grade 1 form. It's solid. I know it's 14 days, Barry, but when Aidan Coleman knew she was bet the last day, he wasn't harding her. Like, she didn't get absolutely murdered up to the line. It was like us trying to run after a train when we're late. There's no point killing ourselves. We're not going to get there. Like, so he wasn't exactly too hard in it. I just thought First Street was interesting on his county hurdle form behind Willie's horse. If he came back to something like that, he could be in the mix as well. But no,
who are you
for
going
me,
with? Epatante.
I know I'm going with Epatante. Like, he's grade 1 form. I know the Twiston-Davies horse only 5, and he's done well this year. But look, she's battle hardened. He's to give her £5 as well. Stick to the grade 1 form, lad, when you know it's there. I think she's a serious price at 64 as well.
Okay, those are race number 2.
Boylesports has it all. Money back meetings every day. UK and Irish racing live streaming. Extra places and money back all losers offers. And a bet 10 get 40 welcome offer. Boylesports, this is betting.
Moving to race 3, also off the Cheltenham card on Saturday. The Bristol Novices, as it used to be called, is now the Albert Bartlett. 6 go to post here. Outlaw Peter, representing Harry Cobden and Paul Nicholls in that partnership, including Sir Alex Ferguson. And the Twiston-Davies runner, We've All Been Caught, seemed to dominate this in my eyes, although Thomas Marr is an improver for David Pipe and Tom Scudamore. If Accidental Legend wins, the bookies will think it's Christmas, won't they, Barry?
Yeah, I think the Twiston-Davies team will take this again. I'd make We've All Been Caught One of the best bets of the weekend, actually, Mike. Winner of a point-to-point, sold at the Cheltenham January sales for, was it 210,000? They've been on record saying that this is the next Imperial Commander. Obviously, this is hurdles. He's stepping up in trip, but he went into everyone's tracker, I think, after staying on over 2.5 miles at the November meeting. I think he got one slap. It was mainly hands and heels, massive engine. He wasn't in the picture turning the bend for home. Hermes Allen obviously went on to win the race by 10 lengths. But We've All Been Caught has come storming up the hill past Briscoe, who's a decent yardstick. And I think this fella is absolutely crying out for a step up to 3 miles. And I suppose if he wins this, he's probably a contender for the Albert Bartlett in March. The old cliche, this fella genuinely is going to be a much better chaser. He's only 5. Look, he's shown that he's handled the ground at the November meeting. I thought it was a lovely debut. He won first time out in a bumper for the Twiston Davis team at Newbury last season. But I thought it was a lovely, I suppose, introductory run over 2.5 miles, probably plenty sharp for him. So 3 miles, I'm with Nigel's horse here. Just to mention Outlaw Peter, that one's 2-1 with Boylesports. Thomas Marr, 4-1 with Boylesports. The Pipe team reported, Mike, after his emphatic victory that the race fell apart last time. So I just wonder how strong the form is with Outlaw Peter and Thomas Marr. I would give a mention as well for John McConnell's horse, Grand Soir. That was a nice winner down in Cork, and he's been entered a couple of times when the ground maybe hasn't been in his favour. He needs decent ground. So, Grand Soir, I wouldn't be surprised if he ran a massive race, but We've All Been Caught for me. And Boylesports have enhanced it for Champ.ie listeners out to 7-4 from 6-4. So that's a tremendous value, Mike.
And explain how you go about the enhancement.
Yeah, we're going to post it up on Twitter so you can follow the link. Go to our Twitter page. You'll see the enhancements. Follow the link. Sign up if you don't have an account. And if you, I suppose, have an account, just press the play button.
Well, Mr. Coyle's just treated us to a close-up of his index finger.
Yeah, sorry.
On camera. I don't know what he was, whether he was clicking yes to the to backing something or what. What do you make of this one?
Yeah, look, I agree with Barry here. The Twiston Davis horse, the step up and trip, definitely looks to be the one. As he said, look, what have the other horses beaten? They've won by wide margins in muddling sort of races. Not for me. Like Thomas Moore, it took him 5 goes to win Irish point. And then he's won 2 kind of muddling races there. I think
McConnell's horse is a nice horse, Tom.
He's a nice horse, but Barry, he hasn't beaten much. Like he won a maiden around Kilbeggan. He bet Past Choice, who very disappointing. I was screaming at him here one day for the handicap up and down Royal, and he just absolutely dogged it, and he dogged it again somewhere in Navan. He bet him when he was odds on, and then he went
down to Cork.
Yeah, and then he went on to Cork and he bet Matthew Smith's horse, the green and white colours. Yeah, he beat him 3 lengths. He's a good handicapper, but like if John's horse wins this, I'd be very afraid of what the English have for the Albert Bartlett, because he'd be a long way down the pecking order out here. But look, John has good success going over. But look, I think you're right. I think he's probably the bet of the weekend, this horse. With the step up and trip, he won for the Kennedys, his point to point down in Drummahan, made the big money. Look, he could be a very nice horse. Yeah.
Okay, that's 14 times the phrase "nice horse" has been used by the two of you.
Download the Boylesports app and receive generous offers for new and existing customers. Boylesports, this is betting.
And shortly we'll hear from Jockey Sean O'Keeffe, and we'll do that after we've talked about the last on the Cheltenham card, the Molson Coors Mares at 3:35. Interesting handicap. Indefatigable's in it, but he's also in the race on Friday. And there's 2 unbeaten. I say 2 of these are on a 4-timer. I Spy a Diva is interestingly ridden by Jonathan Burke, who's been riding winners for Harry Fry, while Lorcan Murta rides Fry's Lady Adair, who's been missing for 291 days. They're the 2 with which we start. Some thoughts on this mare's handicap. And of course, does Indefatigable turn up? I think is going to be quite a key in this race, Barry, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd give her a chance. I would give her a chance. Top of the way, it's indefatigable. Best form comes on better ground, and she absolutely loves Cheltenham. So I'd give her a squeak here, although her first 2 runs last season were on the flat at Pontefract, where she won on the flat and then won at Wetherby. That was her first 2 starts this season as well, and she hasn't been anywhere near the same horse. So maybe a slight concern, but wouldn't rule her out, given the fact that her best form obviously probably comes on decent ground, and she absolutely loves Cheltenham. Harry Cobden on board for Paul Webber. She's in a 15-2 for with Boylesports. Theatre Glory, she unseated last time, just 14 days ago, and she was on a 4, bidding for 4 wins in a row. Lady Adair has had a couple of entries. Nice mare. Had a couple of setbacks last season, I think, for Harry Fry. She could be anything. She's in there carrying 10 stone, 13. She is Larkin at Murtagh's claim of £3. I'd make her a player. Just, I suppose, the long layoff, maybe a slight worry. I did read the Harry Fry stable to her. I know, he seems to hold her in decent regard, but just the layoff, she's been off the track 291 days. A slight worry. Martello Sky has also won around Cheltenham. She's second on her last 2 starts. Does the handicapper have her where he wants her off a mark of 140? The one that interested me, and I do love the angle of this horse stepping up and trip, Nina the Terrier. I thought that was a solid one in the betting. It's in there at 5-1 with Boylesports. She's had 3 starts so far this season. We talked up I Like to Move It earlier on the card. Well, this horse finished 5th behind I Like to Move It in the Greatwood. And I think that form will work out well. The first 2 were nice. If you look at the winning distance or how far she finished off, I Like to Move It. It was a total of 19 lengths. But I suppose the first and second had, obviously came well clear, but they're all a bunch in behind. This horse is stepping up and trip. She'll have no bother on the ground, and she's been dropped a pound. So for me, Nina the Terrier stepping up and trip, I think she could be nicely handicapped off 130. So that'll be my pick here, Mike. 5-1 with Boylesports.
And Mr. Coyle?
Yeah, I'm actually gutted because this is the angle I was going through as well. But my angle was through the Molly All His Wishes race. Martello Sky was second. I actually thought Nina the Terrier was travelling so well when she fell at the second last. She looked like me. She was still waiting to play a challenge. Interesting that she was only getting £4 off Martello Sky that day. She's actually getting 10 this time, so she's actually £6. I know the race didn't finish, but in theory she's £6. I know she didn't challenge. We don't know would she have found much off the bridle. But for me, that's the kind of angle I was going. 10-13.
Nicely weighted. She'll be fit.
Yeah, nicely weighted.
Trip.
Yeah. I can't have the top weight. Like a 9-year-old mare, like I'm surprised she's not out in the field with a rug on her in foal, like at this stage. A 145 rated mare, like it's a bit mad.
Positivity there from Mr. Coyle.
Yeah, I can't have it, and like she's been poor on her last run as well. Can't have it. Yeah, I came down. Look, Harry Fry's horse has done nothing wrong. The break could be a bit of a concern, all right. But she, as you said, she's had a few entries, and it's kind of like the Edwardstone where he had a few entries. Like you have to realise that the horses are primed for, say, 3-4 weeks ago, didn't get their run, but they've been still working in the meantime. So like, I know they're starting off a bit later, but as you've seen with Edwardstone, it wouldn't bother me at this stage now, because when they have been prepped for a race before and then are still in training going forward, it does make a big difference than a horse that's having its first entry and a run. So that wouldn't put me off. But yeah, no, I came down on Nina the Terrier in this one as well. So
yeah,
okay. And are they barking mad or not? We'll find out a bit later on. And we've got one race from Navan we'll look at. That also is subject to an inspection, the Fox Rock Chase. But before we do all that, one of the rising stars of the Irish weighing room is Sean O'Keeffe, now starting to ride on a more regular basis for a certain W.P. Mullins, and a man clearly going places, especially when Mr. Townend is going to other places. Here he is talking with Barry.
Delighted to be joined by Sean O'Keeffe on the Champ.ie podcast. Sean, things cracking season last year, 45 winners, and you've banged in quite a few so far this year already. So things are going well.
Yeah, had a great season last year. Was delighted how it went. Got to try a few good horses and got plenty of winners. So Should try to do similar again this year now.
And I was going to ask you, obviously, Willie Mullins, a good supporter of yourself, Jessica Harrington, Paul Nolan. What does a week in the life of Sean O'Keeffe look like at the moment?
Yeah, I suppose it's kind of what you said there between them three trainers. Try to get into all of them during the week. So that's where most of my rides be coming from: Jessica Harrington, Paul Nolan, and Willie Mullins. So yeah, it'll be busy riding out in all them yards. Try spreading myself around between them.
Sandor Clegane and Joyo Manchin. Let's start with Sandor, because God, he was mighty impressive at Punchestown.
Yeah, it was a very good performance. We're very happy with him. He seemed to step forward from his first run of the season very well. Obviously he had some nice bumper form from last year, so we're hoping that he's going to be a nice horse going jumping. So it was great to see him put in that performance the other day.
You mentioned you obviously schooled him at home. What do you think is his biggest strength now going into this season over hurdles?
Yeah, he definitely he jumps very well. He's very slick. I think stepping up and trip helps him a lot, because I think he seems to be able to travel and jump a lot slicker and quicker and everything, and it's just happening a bit easier for him. And I think over a longer trip he probably has a bit of speed, while he can probably get caught for a bit of that over 2 miles. So I think stepping up in trip will be a big help to him throughout the year.
And obviously you sat on the Albert Bartlett winner last year, the nice guy. Do you think Sandor Clegane could go that far?
I suppose that's what we'd be hoping anyway. But I suppose he couldn't have done anything else. He couldn't have done anything else better in Punchestown. So hopefully he's going to have to progress and improve a lot, and to reach that level. But he's definitely doing things right now.
Super. Joyo Manchin, very impressive at Fairyhouse. Did win a bumper, of course, last year. The time was very good. Did he impress you?
Yeah, he did definitely. So time was good. We went to good gallop, and I suppose Jack Kennedy's horse kind of ran off on the far bends a bit in front, and Paul Townend's horse got a bit keen and got lit up coming across to the fourth last and third last. So there wasn't really any let up in the pace. And I suppose I was probably caught a small bit from the back of the third last, but once I kind of got rolling on him, and he quickened down the straight well, so he did.
It's a big weekend for Energumene. He's down the Hillyway again.
Yeah, he's I think he's going back there again, so he'll starting off the season again. He did nothing wrong last year, even in defeat in Ascot, and he had a great season winning in Cheltenham and Punchestown. So he stepped up to the top level in open company really well last year, and he's obviously a very, very good horse. So I think there's no reason why he can't go on now and hopefully do the same again this season.
What sort of a feel? He must have given you some feel that day.
Oh yeah, definitely. He jumps really well. He's a proper 2 mile chaser, and he can just jump and travel. I suppose and put a lot of other horses under pressure. That and I suppose he can just do everything so easy, and but he gives you a great feel for sure.
I suppose comparing horses, Galopin the Champ, he's obviously well fancied by many now for a Gold Cup. How do you? I suppose you sat on him when he won the Martin Pipe at Cheltenham. How did it compare, the different types of horses?
Yeah, I suppose Galopin the Champ would have probably improved a lot since then. As well, I suppose he improved from his early runs to the Martin Pipe, and he's definitely improved after that, and for going chase, and he's improved a lot. So, he's a very good jumper too, and I suppose he probably is a horse that over a longer trip, and I think he probably stay very well. So but he's probably a horse that's improved a lot. Since I rode him in the Martin Pipe.
Super. And 3 mile 2 furlong around Cheltenham, is that something you can see him doing?
Oh, definitely for sure. You know, he's I think he's a very special horse as well, and you know, definitely the way he jumps, you know, is a big help to him, and over that longer trip, he'll be saving a lot of ground, and you know, he'll be able to, you know, he'll be able to fill him up everywhere over that trip. I think he'll definitely stay.
The Dysart Dynamo took high rank amongst the novices last year, certainly this side of the water. How's he at the moment?
Yeah, he's good. I think he's working away well, and you know, so he'll, you know, he had a very good start to the season last year, and probably just things just didn't go his way after that. But you know, I think whatever he goes this year, whether he's going chasing or hurdling, you know, he'd be definitely want to keep an eye on. You know, I think you know, he could be hopefully a top horse as well.
Physically, he's a big horse, is he, Sean?
Oh, he is. Yeah, he's you know, he's a big horse and probably looks like a big chaser. So, you know, he's probably after filling into himself a bit more and everything too. So, you know, definitely haven't seen the best of him yet.
And Allegorie the Vassy.
She's entered again for this weekend over fences. So, you know, Mare, she jumps very well, and she should have a bright future as well.
This was Manhattan Lady and Clark Kent, two that you are riding at the weekend. What's on either of those?
Yeah, it's both in two different maiden hurdles in Navan. Manhattan Lady, we got as far as the second on her the last day, so hopefully she can put in good round the jump and run a nice race. And Clark Kent won a bumper last year as well for Willie Mullins. So you know, hopefully he can step up the hurdling too and put in a good run.
Super. Two questions finally. Best chance of a winner at the weekend, Sean. And second question, dark horse for the season.
Yeah, I suppose what I know, probably Clark Kent will have a better chance on Saturday, all right. In the maiden hurdle, so I'd say he'd be my best chance on Saturday. And dark horse of the season, probably say El Fabiolo maybe. I think he's a nice horse from Willie's. He ran well in Aintree last year.
And while you've been listening to Sean O'Keeffe, I've been put firmly in my place. Although I have to say that the order of running has been changed at Navan, presumably to give the best chance of the meeting going ahead, a bit like Cheltenham did. But unlike at Navan, they'll run all or nothing. Cheltenham, of course, having scrapped Friday's cross country. So the race we are actually going to look at is this Bective Stud Tea Rooms and Apartments Handicap Hurdle. Oh, a cup of tea. What a very nice idea. Can I have mine with milk, no sugar, and I'll have one of those lovely scones to go with it. Sounds nice, doesn't it? Run for Oscar top weight for the Burnses, who have had an interesting week and were second to a Gordon Elliott horse in a cellar at Taunton on Thursday. Extraordinary that they came across. And we've also got Any Second Now, staying chaser of the very highest class. Work this out. Maximum field of 20. Tommy, have first innings on this time.
Lovely. It's good Irish handicap. I think Barry threw this one in just from getting my teeth stuck into it. I suppose a lot of people will be looking at Gordon's horse, Jungle Prowse. She's on a 5-timer. I think this is coming a bit quick for 13 days or so after her last run, and she got a lump another £12 on top of that. I think it's just a step too far. She's been amazing the way she's come up through the ranks, but she's had plenty of racing lately. Like when you go from Down Royal, she's been at every kind of half decent meeting that we've had over here. Another one of Gordon's you have to mention is Vinar Danza. He was just chinned in Nace by Henry's horse Watchhouse Cross. The last day I actually thought he was going to get up. I thought it was going to be a great ride by Davy Russell. One thing about this race for him, he's stepping up to 3 mile, just over 3 mile for the first time. That could be a little bit of a doubt. If it was better ground, I would give him probably a better chance. It's going to dry, but I don't think it's going to dry that much. Navan's stiff finish as well would be a little bit of a worry, as you say, any second now. This is probably a prep, Mike, for some bigger things. Just going down through them. One that I actually like, and this is probably the one I'm going to put up in this, and I'd say it'll be a big price. I'd say Barry is going to look at me now and start scrolling through the screen when I put this up, but it's Portstone of Colin McBratney's. Right down the bottom weight with Shane O'Callaghan claiming 7 off him, 9 stone 7 on his back. He was 6th behind Jungle Proust the last day, beating about 9 3/4 lengths. Massive turnaround the weights. I think it's like 20 odd pound. He's in receipt now this time. He was behind Lord Erskine, was 2nd in that race as well. This time Harry Rogers' horse doesn't have the £5 claim of Michael O'Sullivan. He went up £3 as well, where Portstone came down £1. That puts him in light of nearly £10 for about 9 lengths, so it's given him a good chance. He's the one that came down on the step up and trip as well. I think the last day was 2.6. This is 3 mile. He was backed off the boards for an Ulster, Downpatrick Ulster National with a 3 mile 4 chase not so long ago. So look, I think step up and trip, lightweight in his back, he'll be in the money. So
okay, and we move on to Mr. Doyle.
Thomas Coyle has me speechless there because I'm looking. He's right in. There's a couple out of the handicap, but he just fits snugly in here. And interesting. Been dropped £1 since. You've almost sold that to me, Thomas Coyle. But I think she'll keep winning. I think Jungle Pros will just keep winning. I think Jack Wood has had his Eric Bloodaxe is an interesting horse here, off a mark of 137. He's in. He's obviously up the top of the weights. Jack, I'm sure, would have had the choice of a couple of these. He's stuck with the mare. She's gone up a total of £52 since leaving Nick Giffers. There's been lots made of that. But I think this horse will go in again. I think she'll make it 5 in a row. And what did they do with her then? Did they just put her into...
Well, it's hard in her, Barry. Like, she's nearly going every second week. Like, it's very hard to keep them up and down for...
I said I don't know how good this mare is.
Oh, I wouldn't think so.
Because she does nothing at home.
Yeah, no, true. And like she's something that could end up in the mare's hurdle or the mare's novice hurdle, like, you know.
And like the last day, just on that, because like obviously, if you look at our SPs, for example, obviously we don't have prices just as of yet as we're looking through this. But I mean, she SP'd at 11-4, 3-1, 100-30. I'm going back. She's actually won 4, obviously, in a row. So 100-30, 3-1, 11-4, 4-1. You're going to get in around the same price. You could get 5 or 6 to 1 this time.
Well, you'd want it for a field like this. This is a proper good handicap now. Proper good handicap.
Absolutely,
it's a very good handicap. You were talking about Eric Bloodaxe. He's actually quite one of the very few you can say that won a Leopardstown bumper at Christmas one year, and he's not trained by the Mullinses. And he beat a horse called Run for Oscar when he won his bumper. Yeah. I mean, is there anything we can put a line through? The answer is most of them.
And well, he loved the ground, Mike. Absolutely.
Choosing May's runner of the Mullins squad, and good to see him giving a ride to young Sean Cleary Farrell.
Yeah, I'd say probably a lot to do with the weight as well there, and out of the handicap on that as well. I actually haven't heard of young Sean Cleary Farrell. I'd say it's one of his first rides, probably.
Yeah. Okay, it's time to now put a few things together. Those are your 5. They are the races in this week's 5 cast. So you know what to do. You want one from each of the 5. Subscribe, put it in the comments, and you could be in, subject to terms and conditions, to winning a €20 Boylesports free bet. So let's go through the 5. And unfortunately for everybody, with the absence of the last thing Groom said before he got on a plane to warmer times, and it's up. He said to me, I want you to do 5 casts this week because I'm not there. But at least he can have a good laugh. So we're going to go down the 5. Let us start with the Cheltenham 4, and then we'll do that NAVAN race. So the 150 at Cheltenham, the AIS December Gold Cup. Barry?
20-1, Cheddleton.
Tom?
Coconut Splash.
You took the very words out of my mouth. So I will chance here and get lots of abuse from an awful lot of people. Storm Control each way for Richard Patrick.
Loves
and
Cheltenham.
For Kerry Lee, loves Cheltenham, because the horse is also entered at Doncaster. If he doesn't turn up because he goes to Doncaster, I'll go Fantastic Lady. On we go then to the Unibet International Hurdle, 225. 5 of them. The outsider, the Rag, may not turn up. Zaffaniri's also in on Friday. Barry?
I like to move it.
Thomas?
Epitaph.
And I'll go Napper's Hill. 3 o'clock, 6 of them. Are we unanimous on this one? Barry?
We've all been caught.
Thomas?
Yeah, same as.
Yeah, I'll go that as well. And then the final race at Cheltenham, 3:35, Molson Coors Mares Handicap Hurdle. Again, a field of 10, and Indefatigable may or may not appear. What wins? Barry?
Needed a Terrier. 5-1 with Boylesports.
Tom?
Yeah, I like her as well. Nina the Terrier.
I'm going to go against you. I'm going to go with Lady Adair. I know it's a case of they said about the man waiting to become a bishop. Long time no see, but Harry Fry's horse is in great nick, and she could be anything. Navan won the 246. This Bective Handicap Hurdle. We've just talked about it. The winner is Barry.
Jungle Pros. She just keeps on winning.
Thomas?
I've made a case for Port Storm and I'm sticking to it.
Come on, Tom.
And I will go Eric Bloodaxe.
I think that's the race that Gavin Cromwell's horse really came to light at, wasn't it? The Stayers
Floating Porter.
Yeah, Floor and Porter. Isn't this the race that a couple of years ago that myself and I think
Exactly.
Ronan actually picked him out at 20-1, and that was the start.
I think it was Mike Vince actually picked it out.
Yeah. Brief word about anything else?
Are we doing best bets, Mike?
Keep this brief if we can, lads.
Are we doing best bets of the weekend? Yes.
Yeah, and anything else you want to mention as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Just a couple to mention. We had John McConnell on the show earlier on in the season, and he put up his dark horse for the season, Jackpot de Chazal. Juvenile hurdler, came from France, came with a decent reputation in the 12:05 at Cheltenham on Saturday. Looking forward to seeing that one, the juvenile hurdle. We've all been caught, obviously, mentioned that already. One to mention as well, in Edit Star that runs at Subtle at 153, Johnny Burke's dark horse for the year, when we had Johnny on the show. And just to what I like myself at Carlisle, I think it's a graded chaser in a handicap off top weight, Crystal Glory for Nicky Richards. That's on Sunday at Carlisle. So that'll be certainly on the list. And want to mention for Pat Doyle as well, Granny Lowry was a major eye catcher down in Cork. It's a 7-year-old mare, quite lightly raced. She goes again. I think she could be decent value each way.
On you go, Tom.
I just can't believe that Energumene has an entry at the weekend and Barry hasn't mentioned him once.
Sure, just wins, doesn't he?
Well, I know we're not even sure.
Actually, hold on there for a second. Hold on, because I'm going to say something on this. Energumene is 9-2 to go the season unbeaten at Boylesports. That's your bet.
Okay, you've said it.
Oh.
But obviously, we first of all have to wait and see whether the Hillyway is
Tom, what's the best bets?
Take place. So, what about your best bets, Mr. Coyle?
Best bets. Look, I have two kind of each way ones. I like Port Storm. Obviously, I've made the case for him, and probably a bit off the track of the weekend. But I've won tomorrow evening myself. Things didn't just go right for him last week. Line ring, but I think he'll nearly win tomorrow. He was two runs ago. He was chinned on the line, and just things didn't go right from that race to the next one. He was very keen last week, and I think we've ironed that out. So I'll be hoping he'll run a big race tomorrow.
We wish you luck with that. I've just got one to throw in at Hereford. Again, this is all going to be inspected, everything. 157 Hereford, a handicap hurdle. I know that Charlie Deutsch goes to Cheltenham, but Frank O'Donoghue, second in both his starts this year for Venetia Williams, with Shane Quinlan up, has caught the Vince eye. make of that what you will. So that is it for this week's programme, with one important final thing to do. We asked you to enter this week's competition. What about last week's? And Mr. Doyle, we have a winner.
We do. We're going to announce some enhancements first, Mike. Weekend enhancements, Champ.ie, NAP, and Next Best. We've gone with. We've all been caught in the 3 o'clock at Cheltenham on Saturday. Giving that a good talking up. That's 7-4 now, enhanced out from 6-4. So avail of that on Twitter. You can see the links on Twitter. Gentle Slopes, kindly enhanced out to 100-30 from 11-4. That's also from Boylesports, and that's at 12:40 on Friday. So really like those two this weekend. That's the Champ.ie, NAP, and Next Best. Of course, every single week we will be giving, or Boylesports will be giving enhancements on our NAP and Next Best. So, Mike, you mentioned the draw, where we do have the little the golden chalice, as we were calling it last week, the Boylesports mug, and just to run down through last week, we've had over 50 entries for the 5-cast every time we've ran it so far this season. So that's really good. Stay getting the old 5-cast down below, hashtag 5-cast, and you must remember, you must have 2 winners or more to enter the draw and be put into the cup. Last week.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Well, I suppose 8 people, going down to the results of last week, 8 people got 2 winners or more. So congratulations to Darren Harper, Jamie Smith, Carol Mount, Stuart Etheridge, Stefan O'Cora. Farr Capel was last week's winner, and he's in the draw again. You never claimed your prize, by the way. Get in touch. Robert Mitchell, I've put him in. He didn't have 2 winners. He didn't put up a 5-cast, but I thought we had to put him in because he didn't get a 5-cast, but he got the tri-cast up in the Tingle Creek. Edward Stone to win, Grenetsey in second, and Shishkin back in third. So congratulations for that. And Hector Hugo goes into the draw, number 8. So here it goes, Mike Vince. Rolling the drum.
And we're just going it by numbers, are we? All right, out you go. Pull your finger out. Come on, do something useful. The number is.
You see that? There's no number. It's
no. You better read the name on the ticket, or we'll be here till midnight.
Hector Hugo.
Hector Hugo.
Congratulations, Hector.
Well done, Hector. You are a winner.
Ownership.
Hector. We think of Hector, and you think of for years the publicity machine for racing in Ireland. We don't have Hector. We do have Tom Coyle, and we do have Barry Doyle. My name is Thunglebird Dunker Crankle. That's what it says here, because I tick the box saying change your name to protect your identity. But these two don't have that option. Hope there's a load of winners in there. And above all, hope you had a bit of fun. More important, please, let's all agree now, Jack Frost has no place in British and Irish racing. Otherwise, it could be a horrible weekend. And we might have to talk football. From all of the Champ.ie team, see you next week.
Inside the final 150 yards, this is a special year, and it's a Hattons full of grace. And it's Energumene opening up a clear advantage in the closing stages. A breath of fresh air over fences is going to stay at the helm of the 2-mile novices. Energumene by.
Download the Boylesports app and receive generous offers for new and existing customers. Boylesports, this is betting.